repeat through these problems. It says, stop and solve a radical equation to answer each of these. All right, the mass C in milligrams of a male fiddler crab's claw is determined by the equation C equals blah, 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 where M is the mass of the crab in milligrams. Find the mass of a crab whose claw has a mass of 55. Okay, so what is that saying? It says find M when C is equal to 55. So once you figure that out, this is just a plug and chug. Okay, so we want to take our equation 0.036 m to the 7/5, and I want to know when that is equal to 55. Okay, so I'm going to divide both sides by 0.036. Now, I'm not going to do anything in my calculator because this is clearly a calculator problem. So I'm not going to do anything until I get down to what I'm going to do in the calculator. So this tells me now that m to the 7/5 is equal to 55 divided by 0.036. Now to get the m by itself, if it's raised to the 7/5, I can raise it to the 5/7 because 7/5 times 5/7 equals 1. So I'm going to do the same thing to this side. And then I just do this in my calculator. So m is equal to, oops, and here's my calculator. 55 divided by 0.036. Oops, and you can't see that. All to the 5/7. And let's see, round to the nearest tenth of a milligram. So this is 188.0739. And so it is approximately 188.1 milligrams. Okay. The kinetic energy E in joules and velocity V in meters per second of a 1 kilogram object are related by this equation. Okay, all of that is absolutely meaningless to me. But I can still solve this problem. It says that the object's velocity is 6 meters per second, determine the kinetic energy. Okay, so this means find E when V equals 6. So I want to know when the square root of 2e is equal to 6. Okay, I should have enough room here. All right, so I've got to get to the e, so that means I'm going to square both sides. So this tells me that 2e is equal to 36. When I divide by 2, I get e is equal to 18, and that's joules. All right, so pardon me, that is the end of the radical and rational. So now we're into the quadratic functions and see what we can do with this. All right, so it says find the vertex, the intercepts, the axis of symmetry for all of these. Now, I'm going to put a little more information in here because it is just helpful to me. This is in vertex form. This is f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So I can pull my vertex directly from the equation. It is 2, -4. Okay. Since a equals -1 and a is less than 0, and that makes the vertex a max. Okay, now the y-intercept, I'm going to do it first because it's easy. Find f of 0. So f of 0 is the opposite of 0 minus 2 squared minus 4. So that gives me -4 minus 4, which is -8. So it is 0, -8. Now the x-intercept, here is why I put that it was a max. If I were to draw a very quick sketch of this, I would know that my vertex is 2, -4, and since it's a max, it opens down. So there are no x-intercepts. So from the graph. However, if you don't see that, or you can solve f of x equals 0. So you have the opposite of x minus 2 squared minus 4 equals 0. Now, I'll do it by completing the square. Okay, so this is the opposite of x minus 2 squared is equal to 4. I'm going to divide by -1, which gives me x minus 2 squared is equal to -4. When I take the square root of both sides, I get that x minus 2 is equal to positive or negative, and the square root of -4 is 2i. So x equals 2 plus or minus 2i. What this tells me is that the solutions are imaginary, so there are no real solutions, which means there are no x-intercepts. Okay, write the function in vertex form. There are a couple of ways that you can do this. You can use the vertex formula and find the vertex, or you can complete the square. Doesn't matter either way. Okay, so write it in vertex form, find the vertex, the x and y intercepts, and the axis of symmetry, and then sketch the graph. Okay, so to find the vertex is negative b over 2a, f of negative b over 2a. So I need to find the x-coordinate of the vertex, and whatever that is, plug it in and find the y that goes along with it. Okay, well here my a is 1 and b is 8. So the h of my vertex is the opposite of b divided by 2 times a, which gives me -4. Then f of -4 is -4 squared plus 8 times -4 plus 17. which is 16 minus 32, negative 16 plus 17, which is 1. So my vertex is negative 4, 1. Okay, the y-intercept is f of 0, which is 0 squared plus 8 times 0 plus 17, which is 17, so the y-intercept is 0, 17. Okay, for the x-intercepts, all right, my vertex is at negative 4, 1, and it is a minimum. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 is my vertex, and it's going to open up. There are none. Or you can look at the discriminant. Okay, so the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac, which is 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 17, which gives me negative 4. This is negative, so no x-intercepts. Again, all of this ties in together. Okay, and I forgot up here my axis of symmetry. I am so sorry. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 2. It is the x-coordinate of the vertex. Find the vertex, the axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry is x equals negative 4. And what else does it want? Sketch the graph. Okay. Well, the y-intercept doesn't help me any. There are no x-intercepts. So I am going to just find some points. So I will find, let's try, if this is negative 4, let's try f of negative 3, which gives me negative 3 squared plus 8 times negative 3 plus 17, 9 minus 24, 9 minus 24 plus 17 is 2. So I have negative 3, 2. All right, let's try f of negative 2. Negative 2 squared plus 8 times negative 2 plus 17. So that's 4 minus 16 plus 17 equals 5. So I have the point negative 2, 5. Negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now here again is where symmetry takes over for us. And if you want to draw that in to help you, you can. All right, so if I have at where y is 2, if I have 1 to the right, I have 1 to the left. Here I have 2 to the right, so I have 2 to the left. So symmetry takes over, and I can draw my graph, remembering the basic shape is a U. Okay, so, oh, I forgot to write it in vertex form. So vertex form, f of x equals my a, which is 1, times x minus negative 4 squared plus 1. Y-intercepts, and then sketch the graph. Okay, so now I've done everything on the problem. Okay, let's see if we can do the next one. All right, the path of a diver is given by this equation where y is the height in feet and x is the horizontal distance from the end of the diving board. Find the maximum height of the diver. Okay, that means find the y coordinate of the vertex. Okay, so, all right, find the maximum height. All right, so I have to find h, which is negative b over 2a, which is negative 2.67 divided by 2 times negative 0.44. And let's see what happens there. If I have negative 2.67 divided by 2 times negative 0.44, 3.03, let's call it 3. All right, then f of 3 is negative 0.44 times 3 squared plus 2.67 times 3 plus 10. And let's see what happens here. So that equals 14.05. So we'll call the maximum height 14 feet. Okay, so let's see what it says here for B. All right, the height of a projectile above the ground can be approximated using this formula. Okay, we know that formula. All right. If a projectile is launched from the ground with an initial velocity of 320 feet per second, the height is described by this. Now, the reason it's like this is because v sub 0 is the initial velocity and s sub 0 is the initial height. But this is launched from the ground. So this tells us that v sub 0 equals 320 and s sub 0 equals 0, and that's how you get this equation. Okay, so when does it return to the ground? That means find t when s equals 0. That means I just set it equal to 0 and solve. So negative 16t squared plus 320t is equal to 0. Now you can do this any way you want. I'm going to factor it. I'm going to factor out a negative 16t. So negative 16t times t minus 20 is equal to 0. So that tells me negative 16t equals 0. So t is 0. T minus 20 equals 0, which means t is 20. Okay, so what that means here is if I've got a graph, my projectile goes up and comes back down. This is 0, 0. This is 20, 0. When will it be 7 feet above the ground? So that means find t when s equals 7. Okay, so that gives us negative 16t squared plus 320t is equal to 7, or negative 16t squared plus 320t minus 7 equals 0. Okay, off the top of my head, I can't factor that, so I'm going straight to the quadratic formula. So A is -16, B is 320, and C is 7. So X is equal to the opposite of 320 plus or minus the square root of 320 squared minus 4 times -16 times -7, all divided by 2 times -16. So this is -320 plus or minus the square root of, so 320 squared minus 4 times -16 times -7, 101,952, all divided by -32. Now, I'm going to be doing this in my calculator, so I'm just going to go ahead and split it up in the two answers now. So -320 plus or minus the square root of 101,952 divided by -32, and -320 plus, I'm sorry, this is just plus, and this is just minus 101,952 divided by -32. Okay, and then let my calculator do the rest. -320 plus the square root of 101,952 divided by -32, and I get 0.02. And then if I do it again, changing the plus to a minus, I get 19.98. So that means at 7 feet, it hits 7 feet here and here at 19.02 seconds. I'm sorry, 0.02 seconds and at 19.98 seconds. Okay, when does it reach the maximum height? And what is the maximum height? This means find the vertex. So I'm going to find negative b over 2a, which is a is -16 and b is 320. So -320 divided by 2 times -16 is equal to 10 seconds. Okay, and that makes sense with the symmetry. If it goes between 0 and 0, that means here at 10 seconds is the vertex. And then f of 10 gives me -16 times 10 squared plus 320 times 10. So -16 times 100 plus 3200 equals 1600. So this is 1600. So my vertex is 10, 1600. Oops, and I'm sorry. Too much stuff going on here. Okay, these take a while, so I will come back with another video.